I want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever?
One life,
forever,
one love,
and ever.
one soul.
Today's October 5th, 2019. I'm Brent Nally, and I am here in Las Vegas, Nevada at RAADFest 2019. RAADFest stands for the Revolution Against Aging and Death. Having an absolute blast here, incredible energy, incredible people, and incredible companies, and some incredible new startups that we're going to be bringing you. One is an idea that I've had for many years about bringing people a lot of these longevity products much more easier, cutting through a lot of the red tape and the old model with going into your doctor's office and trying to convince them that you've done your research and you think this is going to benefit you as an individual. This company is called Qalytude, and I am sitting here with the co-founder of Qalytude, Dr. Z. Thanks so much for being here.
All right, thanks for having me, Brent. So my name is Sajad Zalzala. Patients call me Dr. Z because Zalzala is a little bit of a mouthful sometimes. I'm a physician based out of the Detroit area. My co-founder and I, his name is Anar, we got together and we came up with this idea to offer longevity prescriptions. There's a lot of, people hear about anti-aging therapies, longevity therapies coming out, but it always seems like it's always 10 years away. So we're always 10 years away from breakthroughs in longevity treatments, to expand human lifespan and health span. It's not about lifespan because you don't want to live your last 20, 30 years, decrepit or unhealthy.
It's really what's happening to a lot of people right now. This is what we want to increase people's health span.
Health span, exactly. So the idea is to kind of help people find therapies that help people live longer, but also healthier. In fact, the name Qalytude is the QALY is a health economics term. It's quality adjusted life years. Basically, one QALY is 1 year of perfect health, and so we want to have people. We want to encourage people to have the attitude to have more QALYs, as I tell people. So there are a lot of therapies right now that are currently available. Like I said, I mean. There are a lot of therapies that you can get right now.
Just walk around. I mean, we're in a huge convention center. There's lots of stuff, but the difficulty is getting it and convincing your doctor that you need that, right?
Right. So, the most famous example of a longevity medication is Metformin, originally approved for diabetes. It's been around forever, at least 50 years. A lot of good safety data on it. But there was some observations that diabetics who were taking metformin actually lived longer and healthier than even non-diabetics who weren't taking.
Lower chances of cancer, just all sorts of incredible.
Exactly. So they looked at the data and was like, what's going on? So they did a little bit of digging, and they found that actually metformin activates a lot of the anti-aging pathways.
Longevity genes.
Longevity genes, exactly. So it has a little bit of mTOR activity, a little bit of AMK activity.
I took my metformin about a half hour ago before I left here. Yeah.
I forgot mine at home, but it's all right. I mean, it's not. I'm not using it to treat any disease or condition. I'm taking it now. I'm about to approach my 40th year, so I'm taking it now so that when I hit 80, 90, 100, it'll help. It's just kind of one added layer of protection. Obviously, if you have a terrible diet, terrible lifestyle, it's not going to help. It's probably not going to help you live longer.
Right. Let's talk about the realistic customer base right now in 2019. These are probably people who are already getting proper sleep, who already know how important it is to exercise and to eat a proper diet.
Intermittent fasting, things like that.
Your customer base right now are going to be looking for people who want that next level, who actually want to start taking more control of their life and taking these type of therapies, pharmaceuticals, treatments, nutraceuticals that you guys might break into, and so this is where I think you guys are filling that gap.
Sure.
So right now, let's talk about, you mentioned metformin. It's also rapamycin, dasatinib, and then the NAD plus patches are the products you're offering now.
Yes.
But you guys are brand new, and you could potentially scale to other products, right?
Sure. We're talking. We're forming an advisory board. We're talking to people who are a lot smarter than I am in this field. trying to figure out what's available that we can prescribe now. The issue with metformin and dasatinib and rapamycin is that they're prescription only. You can't just buy it offline easily. Well, you could, but we kind of talked about this earlier. When we were at the booth there. I mean, there are theoretically places you could go online to buy them, but almost all the time they ship from overseas, and so it's not necessarily reliable. Quality may not be there. And obviously that's just generalizing, but a lot of patients seem to be uncomfortable purchasing prescription medications from overseas pharmacies.
Definitely, and this is really key that I want everybody to tune in real closely what Dr. Z just said here. And let's go into some details about the process of what happens. I go to Qalytude, I decide I want to order. Walk me through,
Sure.
What is it like?
Sure, so you go on our website, and it's we have a subscription service, and the subscription covers the physician consultation.
Which is that a video conference or is that?
So for the vast majority of states, you don't even need to speak to a doctor.
So this is all regulated. You guys are doing this all by the book,
yes,
right?
Yes,
Perfect.
I've worked for several telemedicine companies. I know the telemedicine laws pretty well. And in most states, they actually allow physicians to write prescriptions based on what's called an asynchronous or a store and forward interaction. There are a lot of telemedicine companies that are doing this, and they have big name law firms that are giving an opinion that it's completely legal. The state medical boards, the attorney generals of these states have all kind of signed off on this practice.
So the point is, Dr. Z has been in this industry. He knows what he's talking about. He's very credible.
Sure, I'm licensed in all 50 states.
Right, yeah, so you don't have to worry about everything. Everything is legal. The problem here is that you have to find a doctor, convince them that you want to take these things to improve your life. Your doctors are not keeping up with the research and longevity, most likely. That really is the problem, and this is the problem that Qalytude is solving.
Sure. We have a lot. I mean, we get a lot of inquiries from people. They hear about metformin and some of these other anti-aging longevity therapies. They go to the doctor and say, "Hey doc, here's an article I read. Can you write me a prescription for metformin?" The doctor looks puzzled, says, "Your sugar is perfectly fine." And the patient's like, "You're not hearing me, doctor. I want it for the anti-aging benefits." And so
I want my sugar to be better, and I'm thinking about the future, the blood sugar.
Right. Well, it's not just about blood sugar control. Like I said, I mean, part of the therapeutic effect of metformin is sugar. But the anti-aging, the longevity is actually these other parts as well, unrelated. I mean they're all kind of intertwined, but it's almost unrelated to the blood sugar effect of metformin. Like I mentioned, I mean, inhibiting mTOR, activating MK, and there are other anti-aging pathways as well, making more insulin sensitive. But they go to the doctor, they want these therapies, and the doctor kind of, sometimes they look at them funny and say, come back and see me when you're diabetic, and I'll give you metformin.
Right. They want to wait till there is a problem because our healthcare system in America, unfortunately, in 2019, is not really healthcare; it's sick and trauma care. So they want to wait till there's a problem.
Exactly.
Whereas we're in the preventative medicine mindset on my channel and with Qalytude. On metformin, I want to state one thing real quick. From the research that I've personally seen, I'll let Dr. Z agree or disagree in a moment. I've seen that for people like me, I'm currently 34, I'm only taking metformin on days that I'm not doing vigorous exercise.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's shown to kind of lower the performance a little bit. So I've been taking it every day since I haven't been really doing any exercise here. But on days I'm doing my dodgeball, my basketball, my weight training, and maybe some more intense yoga, I don't take my metformin.
Sure.
So just a quick disclaimer.
Right, and that's fine because, like I said, you're not taking metformin to treat a disease. If a diabetic misses a dose of metformin, the sugar could potentially go higher and cause some issues there. But the nice thing about taking these medications now is that it prevents you from getting diabetes, heart disease, cancers. There's studies on not only humans but also animal models and things like that that show that it has potential for all sorts of benefits. So it's okay, if you go on vacation and you miss a week's worth of metformin, it's fine. We're in it for the long term.
Right.
So take it now so that later you'll be on a lot fewer medications.
Definitely. Naval Ravikant is one of the most brilliant venture capitalists in Silicon Valley. I follow him, and he has a saying I love to repeat. I repeated it last night on my interview with Otto, which is play long-term games with long-term people.
Yeah.
And it's a long-term mindset, and that's what the kind of folks who are going to be the Qalytude customers are thinking about.
Absolutely. It's funny you should mention that, because there was this MSNBC article that came out a few months ago talking about how Silicon Valley entrepreneurs are quiet. So some of them are quietly taking, and some of them not so quietly taking metformin. And it's kind of almost like an underground movement. And a lot of them are not comfortable speaking about it because they feel that there's some stigma. So we're trying to take away the stigma and bring down the barriers to allow people access to these prescription therapies.
Beautiful, I love it. And also for any investors who are interested, get in touch with Dr. Z and his co-founder Anar, who you'll hear from here in just a few moments, because you guys are actively open to discussions for investment. Sure,
absolutely. And the other thing I want to mention is people ask me can't I just buy metformin from some of these online, like we talked about. There's some quality issues, consistency issues, and the other issue is, they say, okay, there's no market for it, but I would beg to differ. I mean, over the last couple of years, there have been a fairly large number of companies that have telemedicine companies that have cropped up, when they started, offering, sildenafil, which is Viagra, finasteride for hair loss, and some other therapies, people made the same criticism. Why can't we just buy these on the online pharmacies? Here we are 2 years later, and some of these companies are worth $1 billion, helping thousands, hundreds of thousands of patients. So
the world is changing fast. The longevity industry is changing fast.
Yes.
Tying everything together. We've been speaking about the last few minutes. Silicon Valley is really changing, and they're really looking into a lot of the longevity industry and making investments fast.
Sure. The other thing is, we're hoping to dedicate a vast majority of our profits to advance the research on this.
That's incredible.
Because we need a lot more research. There are a lot of other potential therapies out there. We're only just scratching the surface right now.
Do you have a specific percentage you can share that you guys are dedicating?
We haven't quite worked out the numbers yet, but
so when you guys were founded very recently, right?
Very recently. Anar and I met a few months ago. We met several times, and we kind of hashed it all out on paper. I had the medical experience, having worked with some of these large companies that are doing really well in the telemedicine space, being licensed in all 50 states, being comfortable prescribing these longevity therapies. He comes at it as an enthusiastic person, going to the conferences, reading all the articles, talking to a lot of interesting people, and so we just kind of made a perfect match there. We hired a web developer. We guided him on how we needed the website built to comply with all the HIPAA laws and all the rest of that, the health privacy laws, and we launched. Like I said, we're starting with metformin, and then we're hoping to really quickly add rapamycin and some of these other therapies we talked about.
You guys are in talks with Bill Faloon as well too. I know Anar has been too, potentially. They're doing an incredible, massive trial.
Yes.
Testing people's biomarkers in the most extensive trial ever on the human planet. They're doing that.
Right. There's a booth
about
right here.
yards from where we're sitting right here.
I spoke to the director of that trial there, and we're going to be having a little meeting here coming up in a few days. There's another booth down in the corner over there. They're also doing trials. They just completed a trial on metformin, growth hormone, and DHEA, which got incredible results, and they want to kind of expand that trial. So like I said, these are the types of trials we need to get real human data to convince people that, hey, there are things you can do right now. It's not 10 years away. It's not 15 years away. We can prescribe these today, and there's no reason not to take them. I mean, we know what's going to happen if you let aging take its course.
Aging's coming for us all.
It's coming for us all, and we may be able to eventually find ways to kind of completely eliminate it, aging, and that's kind of the hope of all this research. But until that day comes, we have to use the tools that we have available now.
Right, and it's looking like there's been no secret on my channel. I've been talking about gene therapy. I've interviewed Liz Parrish. I'll be hopefully interviewing her again soon. She's scheduled to speak today with some exciting announcements with BioViva and her partner company IHS. But guess what? Gene therapy is at least $150,000 for what
Sure.
she did right now, and it's not
Sure.
FDA approved.
Right.
And so we're years off that. So what I love about Qalytude and what I love about what I'm saying and the message that aligns here is that we're talking about what can you do right now?
Today.
What is the scientific research that you can do today?
Sure.
And when you want to go to the next level from all of your sleeping better, eating better, improving your social relationships, thinking positively, you want to take it to the next level.
Sure.
This is where Qalytude comes
Absolutely, absolutely.
in. One more thing. So their booth is here. If you happen to be watching this, I'm going to try and get this video uploaded immediately. If you happen to be watching this today, which is Saturday, or tomorrow, Sunday, then definitely stop by the Qalytude booth here at RAADFest.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Z.
All right.
Yeah. All right, so we just heard from Qalytude's co-founder, Dr. Z, and I'm here with the other co-founder of Qalytude, Anar. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brent.
And Anar and I have kind of hit it off here at this conference because we're both in our mid-30s, and RAADFest is incredible. Most of the folks here, I'd say, are around 50 or older, so we're a little different, and we've both kind of gotten interested in this at a younger age than most people. So, Anar, what got you interested in longevity? When did that happen? And then what kind of gave you this idea of Qalytude? And then finally, how did you actually take action and start this company?
Yeah, thanks, and thanks for interviewing me. From a very early childhood, I just couldn't think of anything more important than slowing down aging and not being old and frail. And
what age was this? Early childhood? How old?
maybe since I was 12 or 13, and it was crazy to me how people were saying, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with aging. There's nothing wrong with dying." And I always
They
thought,
don't know the data. There's a lot wrong with aging.
Yeah,
It gets bad.
It's interesting to me that most people think that aging is okay and getting old is fine. And I think the biggest tragedy ever is getting old and dying. And
Chronological aging is great because that brings wisdom, experience. Biological aging is something different. It's not good.
Yeah. I mean, people say, "Oh, what's wrong with aging?" And then I say, "Well, how often do you get up in the morning and say, I can't wait to get old?" Like, no one says, "Oh, I can't wait to be frail and sick." So there's got to be something wrong with it. And yet, very few people actually contribute any resources to slowing down aging or accelerating the process of anti-aging.
And our governments at the federal and global level are pretty much failing us in this area. They continue to use the old model of dumping massive amounts of financial resources into a specific disease rather than treating what I believe and what I think most people at this conference believe to be the major disease is aging itself, because it's massively increasing the probability of you getting all the other chronic diseases.
Yeah, and most other diseases are age-related diseases.
Right.
The older you are, the more likely you to get the disease. And a lot of people are very philanthropic and they contribute to causes, but why not contribute to preventing aging to begin with? Because if you contribute to cancer and we cure cancer, well, what have you done? You just delayed death by a few years.
Right.
So why not address the ultimate underlying cause?
And then you have all these billionaires and multi-billionaires who have all this money, and most of them are a little bit older folks because it takes time to accrue that amount of wealth unless you inherited it, if you're so fortunate. And so you have a guy like Paul Allen, co-founder of Microsoft, that died about a year ago. It's October 2019 right here. He had a net worth of about $22 billion, just according to a simple Google search. Never married, no kids. Where'd that money go? Gone. If Qalytude got that, for research, we could change the world much faster for everybody. That's the key. This is going to have network effects across the whole planet for everybody's health and well-being. So, with Dr. Z, we've already chatted about kind of the business model of Qalytude, the problem that it solves. We're talking about how you guys are open for investment. You're, just getting started. Hopefully we'll scale to have even more products and offer that. But how did you specifically go about, starting this company? And what did you have that self-doubt in your head? Like, maybe I shouldn't do this. Tell me a little bit about that story.
Really, you got to start with a why. I mean, we're a mission-driven company, and our whole idea is the whole mission is to accelerate the progress of anti-aging, so that all this progress happens sooner. The sooner it happens, the better for all of us.
Right.
If it happens, a day after you're dead, probably not going to be as helpful. So then, from that on, the question was, well, what can we do? And we had this idea that why not make prescription therapies accessible to people just from their couch, and started researching it and contacted Dr. Z. And
how did you know Dr. Z?
I didn't. I just I was looking for partners, doctors who I can educate and convince in this business model, and I reached out to many people, and he was one of the people who responded and said that he's also passionate about longevity and anti-aging, and I think it was just a match.
Beautiful. All right, Anar, I'm going to give you an opportunity to share any final thoughts right now with me.
Final thoughts. I think everyone should spend more time and should contribute more resources into slowing down aging.
Right, and then take personal responsibility to make sure that you are aging as healthy as possible. You know, slowing, stopping, and even reversing your aging if possible. And you can now do that a lot easier with Qalytude.
Yeah, the idea is to increase your health span, so to live healthier life.
Right, and then if you increase your health span, you have a greater probability of increasing your lifespan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Anar, thanks so much for being here.
Yes, thank you. Well, this RAADFest was very productive, I thought. A lot of interesting opportunities for cooperation.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, we met a lot of people doing a lot of great work here. You know, anything from nutraceuticals all the way to, you know, exosome, stem cell therapy. You know, there's been a few booths here trying to get people enrolled in clinical trial, and we're very excited about trying to partner with some of those.
Yeah. I think we might participate in some clinical trials, and also we might work with some of the partners, like the Kaufmann project from Sandra Kaufmann, where she actually suggests people take metformin, and we can help people get metformin through our platform.
Sure. I mean, it's not a, you know, all or nothing type of thing, you know, or one or the other type of thing where you need to choose one therapy over the other. You know, we tell patients, you know, eat right, you know, get all the sleep, all the rest of that, and this just kind of adds another layer of protection against aging. And we're very much into the spirit of cooperation. Right now, we're kind of in a blue ocean, as they say, because there's really nobody else out there doing the telemedicine part of anti-aging. You know, you got a lot of great people doing work. You know, you got a lot of great clinics out there doing it. You're doing your thing, but our model is to bring these anti-aging therapies to everybody in the U.S.
Yeah. What was also very interesting, very encouraging, is that everyone here is very value-driven and very mission-driven, and so it's not like a competition. It's really a win-win situation where everyone is willing to help each other, and it's good for all of us. And we are really at an inflection point here, where in the next few years, the whole anti-aging, longevity, and reversing age-related damage will become such a big scheme that I think it's going to kind of, people understand, it's going to raise all the boats.
Sure. I mean, I started learning about you know, holistic therapies, anti-aging back 15 years ago, and it's come a long way since then. And you know, the number of companies that are you know, popping up to address the issues, the number of research projects. It's incredible. You know, the last 15 years have been very exciting. I can only imagine what the next 10 or 15 years bring for us.
Yeah, and just one additional thought, it'd be interesting to see as new prescription therapies come out, Qalytude could be the platform to get those prescription therapies to people, to make them accessible to people.
And going back to your point about bringing value, I mean, we're trying to harness the power of technology to make this you know, as low cost as possible to patients, to make it accessible to everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, Brent. Thanks
for
having us.
Thanks for having us on.
Forever young, I want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever?
One life,
forever,
one love,
and ever.
one soul.